What's up, Rangers? Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve, and you might notice I got a pile of Godzilla stuff here, specifically the 2019 NECA. Because today, what I'm working on for a new commission is we are making a Burning Godzilla. Now, you might ask yourself, Steve, but they already make a 2019 Burning Godzilla. Haven't you seen the movie, you stupid person? And I would agree. But I had a cool idea for doing a commission to where we're going to make this Burning Godzilla, but the 95 version. So, on a sad note, I will state that he initially sent me the Spitfire one, which is fine. Well, a Spitfire poster, the one with the blue on it, which is fine. It's just way more annoying to try to cover up all the blue. But thankfully, initially started with, I just painted the entire thing black. I'm using a brush. Majority of this is going to be brushing. I might airbrush for at least the base of the red. Like, I might do some airbrushing for the flames. But for a lot of this, like for this, I just painted it black. So I didn't film this part. And because I've been having a lot of issues in editing these things with the way my laptop's been going, for the most part, I'm going to stop doing doing music and just you guys can see me painting. I'm going to be talking the entire time. So, if I'm not talking, we're not filming it. Wanted to get all the black on because it's easily the most boring part. Next, what I need to do for this in particular, because again, we're trying to replicate the 95 look, is he needs to be it's a pretty dark Godzilla. It's like blacks and charcoals mainly, and then the flames are kind of what gives it its offset, and then lots of reds for the dorsal spines. So again, painted the entire thing black. Next, I got a little bit of a lighter color. It's more of like a pavement. It's just like a really, really dark gray. I'm going to dry brush over the entire thing. And then is doing the flame effects and the eyes. So if you guys don't know, I've had a few people asking me about dry brushing. Essentially what you do, dry brush. It does help. I had a piece of paper. Where'd it go? Yeah. What I'm going to do, get this thing off the end of this, is you just take your paint. I take a little bit of it. And then you want to just try to get as much of it off the brush as possible. And then for the most part, I'm going to keep reusing this paint here that I'm kind of spreading. But I don't want to have a bunch on here because I don't want it to get into the nooks and crannies. I just want enough to kind of offset my color a bit. And to be looking at it, I think I needed to make this a little brighter. Oh, it's coming through. It's not like super brighter. Because to be fair, the way the light hits it, you can kind of see a little bit of the off color. That's really all I want. Yeah, this is going to work fine. Because for the most part, it's not going to be like a drastic difference, but it'll give it enough of the light off. But you just want to kind of have your brush at an angle going over it, and then you just want to try to get all the scales. But you don't want to be like dabbing and such like that, because again, we don't want this really getting into like the nooks and crannies for the most part. I just want to kind of cover the scales. And then I'm just going to be doing this entire thing. I'm going to do all of Godzilla like this. Just again, give them a little bit of color variety. And a lot of this too, like you probably don't really have to do this, but I just kind of want to. But the shadow is going to kind of play with this. The shadows kind of would give you your offset color anyways. So the way the shadow hits the lighting hits the figure, your shadows will give you your offset coloring. But like I mentioned, I kind of want them to replicate that movie look a little more. Or 95 look. Anyways, I'm going to cut here. Once I get this entire thing done, we will come back to doing the burning parts. Alright, so next we're going to be adding the burning effect to this guy. Which I got some reference photos on my phone, and I also grabbed a Bandai vinyl that I think the coloring, it's close. But I'm going to be looking more at the photos to kind of get my patchwork. I was going to grab the monster arts, but the monster arts coloring is actually kind of off. Well, this kind of gives me more of an idea, because I'm not going to go exactly how it is off there, but I want to be close. So, let me find a decent brush. So how I'm going to do it is I'm going to start by just kind of outlining all my parts, and then I'll fill it in with the red afterwards. And then we'll be dry brushing the other colors onto it. So it's going to be base red, and then we're going to brighten it up with some oranges and some yellows. So, just to kind of give you an idea of how I'm going about this, looking at it, he's got a patch on his chest, patch on his crotch, and then some on his legs. Which I just got some red on him, but it's fine. It's acrylic, it comes right off. But mainly for his leg, it just kind of wraps around for the most part, and then circles in. You can kind of see it on the vinyl. It's not perfect, but it's more like a giant patch. So we'll come around from the back and the side, and then we'll just fill it in. Again, not trying to go like super movie accurate, but I want it to have kind of the same detailing. So I guess, with my dog messing around behind me, start painting it on. And you just kind of want to just be, it's a lot of spiky bits and what have you. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I probably should go with a thicker brush. This one work for me? Okay, this one does more of the coverage like I want. I'm just going to be patching it on for this portion. Coming around to the front of his leg. And then you want to make sure you don't have any like high paint areas. So I don't want it to be pooling anywhere specifically, so that when I use my hair dryer to fix the coloring, it isn't going to be pooled up too big. We're just going to add some more spots here and there. Actually, thinking about it, I probably should have grabbed the X Plus. Probably would have been a really good one to get from upstairs. But since this is our own little creation, as you guys can see, I can kind of fill in some of the choppy bits just with this thing. And then I'll add some more little high points, or smaller, sharper edges here. Oh, maybe I don't have to. This brush is actually doing a pretty good job of getting kind of the coverage that I want. Alright, so, like I mentioned, I'm just going to kind of use a smaller brush here just to add some more finer edges to the end. But I will come back after I get the rest of the red down, just so you guys can see that. And then show you guys how I'm adding all the extra layers. Alright, so got the base set up for him. Next, I started dry brushing the dorsal spines just to kind of try to get a color that I like. The red I use for this isn't working out too well. So, trying to match the stuff I see a little better. I can actually brighten it up a little bit with like an orange. So I mixed up some yellow and red. Alright, so just to show you guys, take a little bit of paint, rub it on here, because I don't really want a lot of paint on the brush, but I want like enough to kind of catch. Again, brushing it off, just want a little bit of paint on here, and then just lightly going over the spines at an angle, because I don't want to get paint into the crevices, but I want enough paint on the brush to kind of just catch the edges of the detailing. If a little bit of the color gets in there, it's not a big deal. But as long as you can still see some of the detailing popping through, that's really all that kind of matters. But anyways, I'm going to keep doing this, and then we'll come back when I am doing the brushing for the burning parts. Alright, so went ahead, did some of the patching work for it to give them the different colors. All I really did here after getting the initial red down is I mixed up, because I didn't have the right orange, so I mixed up some oranges, did a little bit of dry brushing here and there, just like you guys saw with the spines, and then did little patches here and there, and then same with the yellow here. All I did was I just dipped some yellow from my everything's rolling. Dipped some yellow here. Just patched it off so I didn't have a bunch of excess paint on here. Just kind of dabbed it in some spots here and there. Just to kind of get the coloring that I'm going for. As you guys can see. I also, where the red for the gill was, I added a little bit of extra coloring there too, just to kind of make it pop a little bit better. I gotta finish doing the eyes. And I gotta paint, well, I'm gonna figure out how I gotta paint the mouth. Then it's just clear coating, and then you guys will see the finished product. But I'll cut back because I gotta look up on my phone exactly how I'm gonna go about doing the mouth regions and stuff. Alright, well, I'm gonna at least start doing the nails. So, I just got a little bit of an ivory color paint on my brush. I'm just gonna get to the base of the toe. And just get some coverage. Issue is because I did the entire figure in black and the figure is originally black to begin with, it might take a couple of layers in order to get the right shade. But it's kind of like you just gotta take your time. Usually for the most part, I gotta add like one thin layer and then I'll come back over it and do one extra layer just to kind of fill in where the paint didn't quite get the right coverage on the first run. And I know it's like, especially with some of the acrylics I use, usually it's like the blacks and darker colors are really great for coverage. The lighter colors, no matter what, you kind of always got to do a little bit extra work on them. But I'm going to go through, do each of these toes, the nails, the hands, and then start working on the mouth. Alright, so pretty much got his eye set. Forgot one thing. Got to add a little eye shine that I like to do. Just for the back here. Just making sure I don't got any excess paints on it, dipping it everywhere. Got a little eye shine there. Little eye shine there. Good to go. Alright, now, gonna be just touch-ups and cleanups and good. Alright, so see here. Got his nails painted fully. So all his toes are done. Nails are done. Did his teeth. I did end up painting the inside of his mouth real quick. It's just a red with a little bit of a darker red over top of it for dry brushes to give it different colors. So next, I gotta do the eyes, and then it's just kind of touching up. I realize I gotta pop the back of his head off real quick just to get a couple little touch-ups here, and then touch up the nails real quick, and then that's pretty much it. So, to be honest, his eyes are really tiny, so I think next part you're gonna see is just him fully done. But I'm gonna have to do some black just for the pupils. Gonna do a little dollop of yellow, and then a little dot just to finish up the eye pupil, and then again just taking a hair dryer, popping the head back off. Just so I can, as I see there's a little bit of blue I missed underneath there. I want to make sure it doesn't show up when the guy's posing it. So, be back in a few. Alright, I lied. I'll show you guys how I'm going to be painting this, and hopefully it'll be alright. I need a tiny brush. like so. I'm actually going to sit him down on the table for a second, clean off my brush. Alright, so first and foremost, normally with this I would start with the yellow, with the black. I would do the black, like the entire outline of black, and then do my dips. My dog's running around in the background. But having said that, I think I'm still going to do the same. I actually need a little bit of a bigger brush, though. Something like this will probably do me a little bit better, because I need to get a pretty decent dollop of black on there. Because the issue is how tiny the eyes are on this guy. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get my color right. So right about there is good. Flip them over, get another dollop of black. And now it's going to be the fun part, is hair dry it to dry it out and then doing the yellow. So right back, I forgot to get the hair dryer in the other room. Do my yellow. Literal same thing. Just trying to get as much coverage inside of the iris as possible. But I still want a little bit of black left over. And then with my super tiny brush, adding a little dab, just right in the center. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to clean them up a little bit more, just to make them a little prettier. And then just, again, some touch-ups, and then show you guys the end results.
And here is the finished product for the 2019 Burning Godzilla, if you will, the 95 inspired Burning Godzilla. Overall, really happy with the way the paint turned out, especially the dorsal spines. With that nice, like, crimson red color throughout the top. One thing I know, like, with a lot of the toys, is you see the base spines will still be, like, normal colored, but the top would be where the burning effect was. I don't know, like, I painted them originally, and then I wasn't a fan that these didn't have some kind of coloring to them, so I added the coloring. I had a few creative liberties for this guy, so one thing I wanted to do was have it going all the way down. I thought it just gave the guy a little bit more color, because it is a lot of charcoal blacks, which is one thing did with this guy. Did a black, initially colored him black, and then we did the slightly brighter black, really dark gray over the top of the figure with a dry brush to help make the colors pop out a little bit more. And then did the burning patches with some reds, oranges, and yellows. So you guys can see there's a little bit of color variety in each of the patching sections. On the chest here. One thing I couldn't quite fully replicate the look from 2000 or for the 95 look, because the way his chest is, it just kind of makes it like that doesn't really work. And then also with the way the patching was, I didn't really want it to be when he's posing, like the patches to have like it would shift and look weird. Like, I've never been a super big fan of that. So I kind of made it almost kind of like a muscle shirt now that I'm looking at it. But these don't connect to these. So when you're moving his arms, it doesn't really like shift the color palette at all, which was something I wanted to go for this. So when he's moving around, it's not going to really mess with things too much. Also did a lot of super glue tricks to hopefully keep the paint from rubbing, which from what I could see moving around shouldn't have any big issues. One thing I do recommend though, when you do get custom figures for the most part, don't play with them too much because no matter what, there's going to be some paint rubbing over time, and it's just something to take into consideration. Like, for the most part, like, he's definitely posable and playable, but I wouldn't go super crazy in hand with them because some of the stuff will definitely rub off over time. But you guys can see some of the other patches here, some little sections here. Also, one thing, the burning effect kind of come up and start going up the neck, kind of like what you see on the 95. I keep wanting to say 2019. This definitely isn't that. But for his gills, I put the burning inside of the gills instead of having it come up the neck, because I thought it'd be kind of weird looking the way his the patching was kind of set up. Because for the most part, kind of like flares to the back. So, did it inside the gills. And then same thing, just some reds, oranges, and yellows for each of the sections. Kept it patchy just to kind of make it not consistent, which is something you don't want to see. For the head, eyes actually turned out really nice, which there is 3 different colors for the eyes, which is red, yellow, and black for the segmenting. Did them on both sides and then just glossed over top of them to give them a little bit of a shine. Don't look googly to me. Painted his teeth, kind of like with the 95. Same with the inside of the mouth. Redid it with some reds to give it nice little skin texturing. But definitely wanted the teeth to kind of show off a little bit more because it's more 95S. Same with the nails, did them in the bone coloring, and then went over top of them with my little super glue trick. So to help from the paint rubbing off. Same with here for the nails at the toes. Did the super glue with the fast drying spray on top of those so they stay nice and shiny, but it helps to keep the paint from rubbing off. Did that in all the areas where the joints are at. I was going to give them some burning effects, but what I was working with didn't really please me because I was trying to use some like cotton wires and make them glue and harden and get them in the pose, but it, like, no matter what I did, it just looked like weird trying to wrap around without doing like full wrappage and stuff, and it just, I don't know, wasn't super pleased with it. So decided to just call this one a day. But let me know in the comments section below what you guys think of the Burning Godzilla. Do you guys prefer this more than the actual Burning Godzilla we got in the movie? Probably not, but let me know down in the comments section below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. We also got Instagram, Peach on Pinterest, Facebook. Guys like to keep up with the date with the channel and donate to it, greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.